our energy. No one can take that away from you. And that is empowering.
Yeah.
Like once you and your team embrace that, and I'm not just saying you, but anybody.
Yeah.
Once you embrace that and really then take responsibility for that, you can create anything you want, despite the circumstances of the day, despite the circumstances of the business.
Well, hello, beautiful friends of the universe. Welcome back to the University of Why podcast, a podcast that's a reflection of you. I'm your host, Dr. Sonia Chopra, and today we're going to have two very special guests on the show, Dr. Laura Schwindtt and Dr. Karen Tindall from the Mint Door. They are both ex-dentists, now coaches, and they help you and your team really cultivate a culture of, in my opinion, in my definition, love and connection. They are really super powerful in what they do, and they're also super gentle in what they do. So if you are not just a dentist, you don't have to just be a dentist, because they support all kinds of people, especially a high functioning individual that knows that there is more to learn, there's more to do, there's a different way to be, and they can give you the clarity on that. And so in this episode, we talk about the purpose of this podcast, the University of Why, and the meaning behind their coaching program, the Mint Door. And they even did some on the spot coaching for me and kind of re-inspired me and reinvigorated me into continuing to lead in the way that I've always wanted to lead, in a place, in a business now that I've now sold. But I still want to maintain and sustain the energy that once was. So if you're in for it, give this episode a listen. I'm super excited to welcome my two amazing friends, Dr. Laura Schwindtt and Dr. Karen Tindall. Well, 7 years ago, I was trying to come up with a name for eSchool. And I actually came up with the University of Why, because I always like to teach my team the why behind why we do what we do in the operatory.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it so much because, like I even said, it's like, and it's a reflection of you. So if you take the U from university, you take the O from of, and you take not the W, but the Y from why. Okay. So I know that's a little weird, but then if you put a line down and then the word you see that they're reflections of each other. So the tagline is because it's a reflection of you.
Mm.
And through my journey, in the last 16 years, if I give myself time to reflect, I find the why. I connect with the why. And during my time of burnout, I've used my car as my university. And that's where I started to shift what I was listening to, what I was allowing to my body to digest. Instead of watching the Real Housewives of New York, I started to digest really healthy, nourishing podcasts. And I called my car my university. It was the only place where I wasn't with my team or I wasn't with my family. And everyone was just kind of like going at me. And it was my only place of peace. And so my car became my university, and it was like a used Mini Cooper convertible. And I was really happy with it, but it rattled a little bit and I loved it. And then I've updated my Mini Cooper since, but I missed the old one. But it was a really special place for me to reflect. And so I remember that time when I was burnt out, really just crushed to the floor. And I was trying to find my way out of that rut. And without that time in my car, without that time of reflection, I never would have been able to figure it out. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are high performing individuals who know how to go, who know how to hustle, who know how to drive, but they forget how to reflect and they forget how to be still. And they don't even know where to start. So the purpose of this podcast is to help them know where to start.
Hmm. That is a beautiful story.
Thanks. Thank you for being here.
Well, honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
And one of my very first guests, I think you guys are guest number 3, so I'm really excited to have you here. Dr. Laura Schwindtt and Dr. Karen Tindall are here with us today, and they are from the Mint Door, and they're a very special coaching duo, and they can really help anyone who is, I know, do you guys just function like serve dentists, or do you serve others? Just dentists?
No, we serve
Everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Because I don't want this podcast to just be for dentists. I want it to be for anyone. And I knew when I first met you guys that you have such a gift, such a gift. And if more people are aware of what you do and how you help guide and love others, I think we could make a better place. I swear. So I want you guys to take a minute and just let the audience know who you are, how you guys even met, like what is your origin story? How did you guys meet? And what is the meaning behind the Mint Door?
Okay, well, Laura and I are very good at tag teaming on this, so and it's random who starts. So I'll start today. So I'm Dr. Karen Tindall, and I'm originally from England, as you can tell from my accent. I'm not a native to the United States. I've been here now for nearly 9.5 years. Can't believe it. And 9.5 years ago, we left England because my husband got a job over here in the United States. And I had to kind of put my career in dentistry on pause because I couldn't just swap my qualifications over. And at that point in my life, I was focused on being a mum to my children who had just moved halfway across the world, being a wife to Josh, who was just starting a new job. And I had to just create our family home in a new country. It didn't take me long I fully appreciated, and the privilege of being a stay-at-home mum was huge. And I had always wanted to do it. However, I did become a little bit bored after a short space of time. And I realized that I needed to be doing something. And I then discovered life coaching. And I did a qualification with the International Coaching Federation. So I'm accredited through them. And really started to understand what coaching is. I thought it was giving advice. It's not giving advice. It's really listening to the person that's on the other end. And to cut a long story short, Laura and I were connected, and we really realized that we had a shared passion for the total well-being of people. And we're thinking about people in 360 degrees, not just professionally or personally or as a parent or as a sibling or a community member, just this whole person idea. And we followed, we were friends first, and this is our motto, friends first, business partners second. But we followed this idea, and we came up with the idea of the Mint Door. And I'll let Laura tell you a bit about her, and then she can talk to you about what the Mint Door means.
Yeah, very similar and very different. And, I, like you, Sonia, was a practicing dentist that also went through burnout. And I credit a life coach with saving my life because I was in a really low, dark space. And it's funny because one of the first assignments that she gave me, which I thought was crazy, was to get up 15 minutes early and do absolutely nothing. Just sit. And she said something that has recently I've remembered, but she said, you're really good at chasing cortisol, but you're not very good at cultivating your calm.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I thought that was crazy because, I was exhausted, and getting up 15 minutes earlier and not being productive. Like, who does that? Right. But I did it because I was paying for her and I trusted her. And I thought she had my best interest in her heart. And that was the start. So sort of like your car was your university, my living room floor became my university. And I would sit on the floor at first doing nothing. And then I dabbled into prayer and meditation, and then, started reading books. And then, yeah, it just kind of grew from there. But at the end of our relationship, we coached for just over a year, and I was thanking her, and she just had made such a profound difference. And I said, I wish I could give this gift to others because it's just been so transformative for me. And she said 3 little words. She said, why can't you?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And it you can see that that's your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel that kind of just vibrating from you guys every time I sit next to you. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like a slow morning. Let me tell you. I had a long one this morning. I took 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I just took 2 hours to myself. I got ready really slow. I have my Mondays are super hard and super long, and I carry all that energy with me at the end of the day, and I have like really deep rest on Monday nights, but it's so hard for me to wake up on Tuesdays. And so I actually have a nanny who comes on Tuesday mornings because I just need to shed all that energy. And today I just took it very slow this morning. I don't normally get a 2-hour morning routine, but man, it was so good to just ease into my day today. And I fully encourage that. And that one little tweak that your coach said to you, that's a game changer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was the beginning of realizing how much I had been. And I think many high achievers, Karen and I that we work with, this is a common story that, we go, go, go because we believe that that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that rest and restoration and rejuvenation is where the magic is.
It really is. So much creativity comes through there.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about the meaning of the mint door.
Well, so Karen and I, we met and we hit it off and had several Zoom calls. We just knew that we wanted to keep the conversation going. And so I actually invited her out to where I was living at the time in Bend, Oregon for a little vacation. And she came and visited me. And we were on a dog walk, which I believe, and Karen will echo, all great ideas are born on a walk.
I love that.
And so we were walking my dog and just came up with the thought of a community where well-being is at the forefront, and that you would enter this community through a very special door. And it was like a refreshing opening to something different. And so that was the door. And then, of course, refreshing, we came up with mint, because what better color than mint to be refreshing? And so that's the mint door, the opening to well-being. And we invite everybody in. Everybody's welcome.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And it really does just kind of ground into that essence of that holistic approach, not just professional, right? Because if we just focus on the professional and forget about the personal and forget about the just the self, right? If we keep forgetting about self, we can't come out of that rut. I can't, like, I still remember feeling like, oh, I hit this pinnacle in my career. I felt like I had achieved everything that everybody told me I was supposed to achieve, and I still felt so empty inside. And I couldn't understand why. And it's really because that I neglected myself for so long, and things like not being able to trust people to do things with me, not for me, but with me. I was growing my practice all by myself, and I had a lot of trust issues to allow others to kind of work in their own zone of genius. But once I started to let go and really start empowering my team, things I just transformed all the way around me. And I would love to just hear your guys's, your point of view, your perspective. And because I think for me, like finding pockets of time, was really one of my secret weapons. And empowering my team is one of the things that allowed me to find tons of pockets of time to then be able to give my family more time to work on passion projects and stuff like that. And so bring me into your world a little bit and share with us how you help high achieving individuals and their teams or just themselves individually. Whatever, I'm sure you have a variety of ways that you help people.
Yeah, well, thank you for that opportunity, because I think the people that we work with, if we look at a spectrum of where you are on the spectrum, because when we're talking about this, and like, there was a time when probably the three of us didn't understand that we could feel better, that we could achieve more, that we could be more successful. And there's somewhere on that journey you discover that you can be different and you can succeed more or achieve more highly. But the people that we work with already have discovered that there is something that they could be doing to elevate themselves. And I think that's where we really come in. So we help those people who know that there can be a greater level of success, a higher level of personal well-being. That approach that my team or my business or my company can also be functioning at a higher level too. Once you have that kind of spark that's gone off in your brain, and I would suggest they're the people that are listening to the University of Why, because that question has gone off in their head too.
Yeah.
Once you're at that point, that's when you're ready for what Laura and I do, to be then able to be thinking, what's next? What's for me? What's for my team? How can we be even better? Because the chances are you're probably already doing really well. That's what we see. You're probably doing really well.
That's such a really good point, because I remember being at that part in my life, that moment in my life where I'm like, but it's great. Like I don't need to do better. I don't know if I can do better. Like, what is better than this? I really thought I had hit a ceiling and that I couldn't push that ceiling any higher. And that's where I'm wrong. And now I just don't even believe in ceilings. It's just straight up like, and I can keep going as high as I want to. And so I love that what you just said. It's like you're speaking to the person who already kind of knows. And it's almost like a ping. It's like a little ping in your body, right? And it's like a little knock. And I remember that feeling. And now these little types of feelings that I feel in my body, I really pay attention to. And it is like a ping.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really both of you brought up such good points there, that a lot of times we have reached that pinnacle, and that ping goes off, and I really think that ping is, you can do this, you can do better, and you can feel good while you're doing it. And I think that's the second mountain that we look at. We get to the top of that first mountain and we're like, I've done it. I've done what the world told me to do, and something's missing. Something's not there. And then if we listen to that ping, which, like you said, listening, and that's where I think that quiet time, that time to reflect, what you said in the very beginning, if you give yourself time to reflect.
Yeah. You almost have to schedule that, right?
Oh,
You have to put it on the calendar. You almost have to make a sign for the door, like, leave me alone. I'm having quiet time, because either your kids are going to knock or your employees are going to knock. And it's just like, no, this is just me time. I need that non-negotiable, like unconditional time with myself to pay attention to my feelings. Because if we're just, in the hustle and not the flow, we forget, we don't see, we miss things, and then life goes by, right?
Yeah. I think that me time, it needs to be put on the calendar. So as well as having the sign on the door, whatever, prioritizing it as you would do a medical appointment or a hair. I mean, let's pick something more trivial, a hair appointment. You don't miss your hair appointment. You turn up for it because it's on the calendar. So something as important as having time for yourself, if it's on the calendar, it happens. If it's not scheduled, it doesn't happen because it gets squeezed out by just busy life.
Right. And it has to be a priority, right? Like, and we have to define it in our own minds and also to other people, because, you know, if you have a shared calendar with somebody and they see it and they be like, oh, that's not important, you know, like you can skip that. This other thing just came up and it should take priority. I think when you define it in a way that makes it, you know, just as important as the hair appointment, because there's a cancellation fee, right? Then all of a sudden everybody values that appointment equally, and it happens.
Well, and I would love to, you know, just take it one step further even. And we're talking about personal leadership, personal advocacy for our own schedule. But what if we took that into the workplace? What if we granted our people that we work with me time?
Oof.
You know, one of our practices has a quiet room. And, you know, they get a chance to go visit that quiet room during the day. And I think that if we could encourage that in as many workplaces as possible, we set the example and we cultivate a higher energy of that workplace. And that just serves everybody better.
I love that idea. I'm contemplating like shifting my office into a bigger space, and I didn't even think of that, right? Like as you're creating a floor plan, you don't even think of that. But I actually have a friend who has kind of like a meditation room. She has like little seat cushions around in a circle and has like really pretty things on the wall, and it's a little dark room, and that's in her workspace. And people go in there to have their quiet time and their reflection time. So if anyone's building an office and they want to support their team and create that type of culture, right? Yeah.
Right.
That's a great idea. Man, I wish I thought of that 16 years ago.
Once you offer something to your team, your company, wherever it is that you're working, it then becomes an idea to them that maybe they haven't thought about it before, but then maybe they do start to. And it's just one of the ways that you can increase the well-being of a workplace by these little small, it may be a bigger job to build it, but small job in terms of just the idea. Small things make big differences, and how to increase, you know, the well-being and the happiness of your team, because that will repay you, if you're the business owner, so much. So there's a statistic that comes from the World Wellbeing Movement, and they're based at the University of Oxford in England. And they say that for every 1 point that you can increase the happiness of an individual employee, you will receive a 12% increase in that employee's productivity. It's huge. So even if you can just nudge that needle a tiny bit, what is one thing that you can do to help those people feel 1% happier?
That sounds like a no-brainer to me. Oh my gosh. Like that. And again, I'm just still kind of surprised at how outside of the box that kind of was for me. And like, but I'm looking at it like such a brilliant idea. And I'm like, now I'm trying to brainstorm, like, how can I, if I don't have the space, how can I still bring in that idea into the workplace to really like go back? Because, you know, I was just thinking like my practice was not in a great place. Then it got great. And now I've kind of like let go a little bit. And now I can see it getting back to, you know, kind of, you know, dysfunction a little bit, but I want to come back to it and not rebuild it, but just recultivate this loving connection. And so you just kind of re-inspired me to think a little bit differently. And it doesn't have to be a huge thing that I need to implement, but small, tiny little things that can really recultivate the love and connection on the team.
Well, I was just going to say, if this may be slightly out of the box, but can Laura and I help you now come up with some ideas? Just maybe 3. So, Laura, why don't you ask a first question, and we'll see where we go with Sonia's well-being ideas.
Awesome. So if you think about your space right now, and you're thinking about this quiet room or this well-being room or space, what would be your wish for this space? What would make it just ideal for you?
Oh, well, first I need the space, but I don't have it. But maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe it's just finding 4 chairs and putting it in a corner. And that's just where people can just go and spend time together. We're so busy flipping the rooms, setting up, breaking down, like doing all the things and going. I just want people to have that non-negotiable time of just rest during their day, but also like love and connection for me is such a big piece that I feel like I've moved through my life so fast that love and connection has always taken the back seat because I always have to get something done. I always have somebody to drive over here or do over here, and I have this meeting and this and then there's no time and space for love and connection. So love and connection is really what this space needs to embody, even if there's no space. How about that?
Awesome. So you said chairs. If you were just like gonna like create this space, whatever it is, you say chairs, what else would be there to cultivate this love and connection?
I love a good candle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like stinky candles. I like just I want to see the flame.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about the flame.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when you say chairs, and you said 4, is 4 a good number, or how many chairs ideally do you think would?
Oh gosh, I would want one for everyone, but that's a lot of chairs. And some people still have to work. The show must go on, but there still should be allowed some breaks. So I think we're like 15. So I might need more than 4 chairs. Am I just allowed to make the space in my head like how it's supposed to be? Okay.
Yep, just a wish, whatever
Okay.
you wish right now.
I'm not actually creating it, but I am. But okay. I would need a chair for everybody because it's important for it to include everybody. And they are arranged in a circle and there's people there obviously in the chairs. And yeah, are we allowed to hold hands? I'd like to hold hands.
Nice. And if you think about the chairs, are they cushy chairs? What color are they? What's
Ooh. Well, everything I touch turns to purple, so I'm sure they're purple.
okay? And if you envision that space, what would it feel like? What would your days be like if you had that space?
I can just see the support, like really being embodied by everybody because I feel like everyone would look out for each other in a different way because they really care about everybody's well-being, not their own individual well-being. Holy crap, you guys. That's incredible. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Karen, you take it away.
Okay. So I know we're talking about like part of this is like what would be ideal
Yeah. Yeah.
versus reality. What if this is going to be reality and we're going to be realistic about how you can put this? What obstacles can stand in your way that would maybe prevent this from happening? Like it's always useful to identify the red flags to know that, yeah, this could crop up. This is what I need to be aware of when I'm going to be putting this together.
Number 1 is like the space, right? Number 2 would probably be, I think it would have been a lot easier if I was still the owner of my practice, right? But I have to say, I feel like my DSO is becoming more open to ideas. So I don't know how much of a barrier it is. Physically, the space, there's no place to put another chair, which is a problem, but We are considering moving. I think just getting things approved.
Hmm.
And there may be some team members that are, it's not their vibe, right?
Hmm.
Right? And I don't know for sure. That's a possibility. I think actually the people who are still there, I think a good percentage of them would really appreciate it.
Hmm.
And I think it would make us stronger. But I think there is a possibility that it may not be somebody's vibe.
If it's not somebody's vibe, though, would your plan hurt them in any way? Would it be detrimental to their well-being if that was happening in the practice, even if it's not their vibe that they choose not to do it?
No,
Mm.
it's their choice. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
So it sounds like by creating some sort of plan that could be brought to reality, and maybe 15 chairs is not as beautiful as it sounds, I would suggest that is a team retreat.
Yeah.
15 chairs in a circle with a candle and various other things that could be crafted that way. But if this could be done on a smaller scale, what would your first step be to sort of even contemplating this idea in a more kind of concrete way that you were wanting to take a step to say, yeah, I really think this is important for my team? What would be your first step?
Well, I really love collective decisions, like with the team, and I love discussing things together because I don't like it to just be like coming from the top, right? It's a team effort. So first I would bring up the idea, like, hey guys, like I had this conversation with these incredible coaches, and I want to try to do something like this. It might not be the exact way, but if you can help me kind of curate an experience that's very similar to this, I think that would be really good for our team. So I would probably bring it to like the next team meeting and ask for their help and ideating something that can replicate something like this.
That sounds like a really easy,
Yeah.
simple first step to take. I'm excited. You need to keep us posted.
I know. I love it. I'm actually going to go to the office today at 4 o'clock and I might ask them if they're open to it. I agree.
That's so
Thank you.
exciting.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I am like in complete gratitude right now. Like that was amazing. And I want to just be honest, like I sold my practice and there are a lot of mixed emotions that go into that bag, right? But I've always made that commitment that I don't want to, just because I sold doesn't mean things have to change. Like it could still be the same energy, even though I'm not running payroll, I'm not doing all these things. Like it's been really freeing for me. I still have to manage a good chunk of the day to day, but I still want the essence of how we started to maintain, like to be sustainable throughout, the end of my journey there. Cause I don't have any plan to like leave anytime soon. So maintaining that energetic level is really, really important.
And I think you said something so valuable there, that we own our energy.
Mm-hmm.
No one can take that away from us. And that is empowering.
Yeah.
Like once you and your team embrace that, and I'm not just saying you, but anybody,
Yeah.
once you embrace that and really then take responsibility for that, you can create anything you want, despite the circumstances of the day, despite the circumstances of the business, because that energy is yours.
So tell me how you would help a a doctor or a dentist or any high achieving individual who feels like they're stuck in a rut. They feel like their culture is not where they want it to be. They don't know how to empower their team. They don't know how to make this first step. How would you help them? Because we all know that when we have that empowered team, everything grows. But start me like share with us how you help with that first step, beside, I mean, this was a simple exercise of just kind of imagining and visualizing and feeling, and then just letting that guide you, right? But I still feel like there could be resistance. There could be somebody who's stuck, just can't see. How do you help that person who just is having that struggle of taking that first step?
Yeah, I think the really important first step is figuring out what that obstacle is for that person. And that takes, like we said, some time to reflect, some time to talk things out, maybe. And that's, I think, where coaching is really valuable. And when Karen and I get the opportunity to coach one-on-one with team members, because they often don't get that time to just talk with somebody about what's going on in their world, in their environment. And we love then being able to determine what it is, what that obstacle is, or what that limiting belief is. Or maybe it's just their energy is low and they're not sleeping, they're not moving and eating correctly. It could be any multiple things. We love to talk about, one of the examples was a star hygienist in a practice that we work with. She was the epitome of your superstar hygienist. And all of a sudden, things changed. And the owner doc just couldn't figure it out. She talked with her. She tried to, figure out why she wasn't happy. And so she coached with us. And through our coaching, we found out that in her personal life, she was going through a divorce. And she did not want to bring that to work. She did not want to, burden her team with what was going on personally. Yet it was impacting how she showed up. And so by working through with her how she could get through this season in as holistically well way as possible. And she determined, like Karen said, good coaching is listening. And really letting the person decide what's best for them. But by giving her that time to work through that,
right,
that's she came up with a plan. She came up with a plan, and she did great. It wasn't like everything changed overnight or anything, but she showed up better and navigated that season in a little bit healthier way than she was.
So she came up with a plan,
Mm-hmm.
not you guys, because it's all inside of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just help kind of bring it out by listening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's the key to a lot of what Laura and I do is listening.
Mm-hmm.
And we have created a process where when we work with a new company, practice, business, whatever it is, where we can identify where the well-being needs lie within your team. We can get that as a general picture. So the business as a whole, where are the well-being needs? But we can also then pinpoint for each individual employee what is their need, because everybody is different and everybody has a slightly different need, but it's based on the 12 key pillars of workplace well-being. And we can narrow it down and give a business owner like this overall perspective of the well-being of their team. And that's so insightful that when we do get to present that to a business owner and they get to see it. And I think one thing is very often they're surprised because they get some really good feedback.
Yeah.
Because like, you're doing really well in these areas, but it's these places that we can just elevate it a little bit more and get it to that point.
That must be so valuable. I can imagine, any leader or even team members could have blinders on, maybe even blinders on to their own needs, right? They don't even realize, let alone other people's. And then you put that collective together and you're able to come in and help people see them. That's got to be super valuable. I need that.
Those blinders are like, when you're in something and you're going through it, those blinders are so so strong, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like when you're not sleeping and you don't realize how good you can feel until you get a good night's sleep. You're like, whoa, that's what a good night's sleep feels like. It's sort of the same thing in a business, you know, when you're in the heart of it day to day to day, sometimes those blinders keep you from seeing. And so that the assessment is really valuable, and it's something that, you know, you can do occasionally because people's life situation changes, circumstances change. So what may be, you know, right now, 3 months from now, may be really different.
Do you find that it's easy for the entire team to accept having a coach come in, or do you find a lot of resistance? What has been in your experience?
I'd say we've worked with all different types of workplaces, from teams who are already doing a lot of good with, you know, for each other, and they're already thinking in that well-being way. And that probably is our high achieving teams who have an awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And in those teams, we find that 99.5% of the people are open to the idea. You're always going to get somebody who's having a bad day, or who just isn't in a position to share. It's too vulnerable. Or, I mean, we don't do a lot of really vulnerable stuff in front of a team. That doesn't happen. But there will be the odd person. But I mean, we've seen them over our time. If we saw a team that was really unwell, like their well-being is not good, we've had teams where there's a good percentage of the people in front of us who are not ready to be there. Even the business owner themselves, sometimes, like, people who are struggling are looking for something. They're looking for the solution. And yet they're maybe not at the point where they're ready.
So what happens to them? That's a great question.
It takes time. It really takes time.
Do they still give you permission to coach them?
Sometimes,
Or do they
sometimes they're not
say,
ready.
or they just don't sign up?
Sometimes naturally they'll be, they recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready. And then sometimes we can work with, I'm thinking of one practice that we've worked with for a while, and one of their team leads we've coached for a good number of years now. And the first time that we met them, they were not the person that I thought we could have worked with. They were closed, arms crossed, a little bit like dismissive, like almost like the naughty child at the back of the classroom with their behavior. And by just little bit at a time, not putting anybody in a vulnerable position, that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
We're not there to stress you out, understanding that we're there to help you, that we're there to be on your team. This is not a reflection on your performance. It's not a reflection on who you are. Like, we are your cheerleaders. Mm-hmm. That is why we are here.
Yeah.
And then little bit by little bit by little bit, and we changed one person from being like, it was difficult. And to be honest, I was a little bit like, oh, how is this going to go? Yeah. To somebody now that we have a relationship with years later, and we still work with every couple of weeks. So I would say amazing difference.
That's amazing. What kind of reasons do they give you that give you the sign that they're not ready?
Yeah, I think that sometimes it's a perception of what coaching is.
Okay.
And so sometimes I think that there is a perception that they're in trouble because they need coaching.
Okay.
And so that is something that we try and address right away, that coaching is to elevate you. And by being given this opportunity from your employer to have coaching, they actually care about you. They want to see you get even better than where you're at. It's not like we're trying to fix you. It's not that something's wrong with you. We want to bring out what's even better from you. And so I think that is sometimes gets in the way. Also, I think too, somebody's energy state, and we talked about energy, but when somebody's energy state is really low, and that can be for a number of reasons, you know, any of the energy fundamentals, eating, sleeping, moving, breathing, connecting, when any of those are off, we tend to not be real open.
Yeah.
We tend to kind of shut down. And so sometimes by just working through, some of those, I can open their perspective to what coaching is. And so that's sometimes a really good place to start. And then there have been times when the team member maybe isn't a good fit anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some self-elimination as I've grown and transformed, and I started becoming somebody's, like, I wasn't their vibe anymore. As I've changed, it's kind of, again, I would shed. Sometimes it's in people, and then I attract something new and something better that's more aligned with the rest of the team.
Yeah. I think it made me think of somebody else that we coached, that the opinion from a number of other people who had worked with the company. One person, they're going to be trouble. You're not going to get very far. I'm going to be very interested to see how you get on with this one. This one will be a test. And we forget that, you can have a team member who, like Laura said, that story, with somebody, the woman who was getting divorced. Like, you can have somebody going through something.
Yeah.
But equally, you can have somebody that just has got really strong opinions or values or, beliefs and ethics, and they're not being upheld. And then they feel threatened, and then they're acting in a way that comes to other people as maybe harsh or abrasive, and this was one of these people that we were told, this person is abrasive. They don't listen. Please have a go, but who knows? And yet one session with this one person, we had 60 minutes, one session. And when we caught up with them again a couple of weeks later, everything had changed.
I believe it.
The business owner was just like, oh my goodness, wow. Like, everything has just calmed down a little bit. We don't have any of these difficult interactions anymore with the team or however, completely. But what we did is we allowed her the opportunity to have 60 minutes. And not all our sessions aren't 60 minutes, but she had 60 minutes to just be listened to and to talk. Where it's not a conversation between two friends where you say, like in this, you'd say a third, Sonia, Laura says a third, I say a third. It's not shared out like that. It's we listen to you and we ask the questions to get the response back. And it's very rare that people have that opportunity to be listened to in that way. And by asking the right questions, I was able to kind of get to the point where I could work out what was going on. Why was this person reacting in that way? She'd never had that opportunity. So to be reflected back to her, is this why it comes out like this in certain situations? Yes. We got to that point. She understood it and she could move on. And it's never gone back to the way it was before.
That's amazing. That actually reminds me of my current coach, because I tell her all my things, and I'm going to say, like, everybody needs a coach. You will live a better life a lot faster if you have a coach. Like, and even coaches need coaches, so it's just like, I really believe in this whole level of service. I really truly believe in it, and I trust in it. My current coach right now, she does that for me. Like, I have these feelings and I have these triggers, and she'll just listen, and she didn't even say anything besides, yeah, I can understand that you feel that way. She gets it. And then we kind of talk through it, and then all of a sudden, like, that same thing never triggers me again. And it's just because somebody listened to me, and for a moment I felt seen, and I felt like my words were truth, right? Because they were for me, but then I was able to understand them a little bit better. So it really can do wonders, if not for you, for your team, for everybody around you. And I want everybody in the world to get a coach, because I think we all just need a little guidance. So
Well, and I
thank
think,
you. Oh, no, go ahead.
no,
Keep
I
going.
think that, the other piece of that is is she encourages you to sit with that and go a little deeper.
Yeah.
And you have that time. And I think that that's so valuable too, that encouragement. Like Karen said, when you're talking with a friend, you talk about the weather, you talk about your kids, you talk about your business, your trips, and you never get to that moment where you really get into it. But with a coach, you show up right there.
And I'm sure, like, you've probably experienced resistance, but then you probably also experienced so much trust too on the flip side, which is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I tell the world how we can find you and really how I know you guys have so many different ways that people can work with you, maybe with just like the owner or the leader, or maybe the teams. There's one-on-one, there's group, there's entire entity. You know, share with us your approach and where people can find you.
Well, you can find us. Our website is themintdoor.net. We're on LinkedIn as the Mint Door. We're on Instagram at the Mint Door Club.
Mhm.
Our email is themintdoorclub@gmail.com. So those are the ways that you can find us. And we always offer a 100% no sale zone complimentary call. So anybody that has a question or that is thinking that this may be something that they'd like to look into, just give us a call. We'd love to have a conversation. And it really is about you. So Karen, I'll let you share how we work with people but encourage people to reach out.
Yeah, well, there are, I think Sonia did a pretty good job at rounding up of what we did, but I'll just summarize and put it together. We work with individuals, the whole team, the whole company together, the sub teams within that company. If you've just got one area of focus, we've worked with team leads from various different teams. So there is basically what we do is we custom create a program for your situation, because we know there is no one size fits all situation. No one business is the same as any other business. And that's why we can't have a one size fits all approach. So we really take a lot of pride in creating something that will work for you and your priorities. And that's why where I was talking before about those pillars of well-being that work really well, so we can identify it. And everything that Laura and I do is backed by science. We love the science behind it, that it proves that it works. So we can then tailor the approaches that will work best and bring the results that your team will need. So team retreats, workshops, virtual, in person, whatever it is, we can make it happen.
I love it. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you so much, Karen. It's really been such an honor to chat with you guys. And I can't wait to bump into you again soon. I'm sure we'll be at a common event, and I'm sure our conversations are going to go deeper and deeper in the future. So thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thanks for having us. And thanks for this incredible podcast. I can't wait to see it grow.
Thank you so much. See you soon.